All right. Yeah.
Guys, I gotta tell you, I don't do prep much for this podcast. I will like put prep on the screen and like do that kind of stuff. I have like pages of notes for this.
Oh, really? I'm impressed
I
because this was my pick and I
truly
didn't
do.
even do that much.
I did at least hour of research on this.
You did?
I did. 100% I did. Absolutely.
Good. You understood the assignment.
Well, I mean, it's the three of us. And I wanted the conversation to go a little farther than, did you like it? Yeah, it was all right. How about you? Did you like it? Yeah, it was all right. How about you? Yeah, it was also all right. All right, bye, guys.
Yeah, it'd be bad if we had a deeper conversation about Joe Dirt than we did Taylor Swift.
It's a
Um,
good one last week, too.
I mean,
yeah.
would it really be the worst thing we've ever done? Would it really be?
Whose hair is prettier? Joe Dirt's or Taylor Swift's?
Oh boy.
It's not a clear cut answer. You
What
got it.
what have I, Roth?
What?
What have I done? All right, let's get into it. Everybody,
Okay.
welcome. You have to watch this podcast. I'm Alan.
Brian?
And I'm Devin.
And I don't know why that popped up right there. And today we're talking about the phenomenon that is Taylor Swift and the Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, Taylor's version, now streaming on Disney Plus. But before we get into that, we like to talk about things that we've seen in pop culture over the last week. Do we want to start with my experience this weekend, guys, or do we want to start with something else?
Listen, there's like a big elephant in the room. You're dressed up in a suit.
Yes.
There's a new poster behind you.
There's a new poster behind me. Yes.
We got teased a wee bit about your weekend. I need to know more.
I'm trying to remember. Did I send you guys the actual clip, like the
Yes.
edited version?
I don't know if it was the edited version. You definitely
Okay.
sent us a clip that I then sent around
Okay.
to everyone I know.
Okay, so this is how I spent my weekend. I went to the world premiere of William Shatner, You Can Call Me Bill, with our friends at Victims and Villains in Richmond, Virginia. They had it as part of the GalaxyCon event there in Richmond. And friend of the show, Josh, who does most of the interviews for Victims and Villains, said, I'll interview all. The convention made it sound like all the celebrities who are going to be at the con are going to be at this premiere. There's going to be a red carpet. We're going to have press there. You'll be able to do interviews. Josh said to me, I'll do the interviews. Anyone who's Star Trek, you can talk to because that's not my cup of tea. And I was like, okay, does that mean William Shatner's mine? Lo and behold, the only celebrity to walk the red carpet that night was William Shatner. So I got to interview William Shatner on the red carpet of his documentary.
It's incredible.
The reason I am dressed up has to do with my story about William Shatner. I introduced myself, say, hi, I'm Alan with Victims and Villains. We advocate for mental health and suicide prevention through pop culture. He's like, where? And I went to answer his question and tell him a bit more about Victims and Villains, but he cut me off. I was cut off by Captain Kirk. He's like, I love your shirt. Where'd you get it? And I said, Kohl's. And William Shatner looks at me and says, Kohl's, Cole? I was like, no, Kohl. He's like, huh. Like he was like completely caught off guard by the concept of Kohl's. So I recovered quickly to him laughing. Was able to ask him what he wants people to take away from the film. I've seen the film. He had not at this point. William Shatner said he wants people to be entertained and get something nice out of the film. It's if you're a fan of William Shatner, you will enjoy this film. If you don't know who William Shatner is, you're going to be confused by this film. Because it is very...
It doesn't explain him at all?
it doesn't do like the deep dive of this is my life story. It's more, these are my thoughts on the world and these different concepts. Like this is how I approach acting. This is how I approach comedy. This is what I think about global warming. Like it runs the gambit. Yeah. It runs the gambit, and it's very bizarre. But there is a moment in the film where he dissects comedy and like his approach to comedy and how he goes about it. And I think it's a masterclass in William Shatner's, like, his take on comedy was phenomenal to me.
You gotta feed me a little bit of it. What was his take on comedy?
Well, he broke down. You've seen the clip of him at the AFI Awards for George Lucas, where he comes out and starts talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. He breaks that down beat for beat, and like where he knew he could keep going because the audience was with him on it. Like once people started laughing, he's like, oh, okay, this is working. I can play with it more and have like start getting into it, like elevate it more. So it like just him breaking that down beat for beat was worth it. But it's just him talking for an hour and a half.
No cuts, just dead eye into the camera.
There are cuts. There's a lot of archival footage. A few of the Priceline commercials show up in there.
Of course they do.
I mean, they make the poster. Like, I've got the Priceline guy. Yeah, he's in the blue stripe there at the end. Yeah,
blue stuff.
Yeah. So it's got T.J. Hooker, Denny Crane from Boston Legal, Captain Kirk, Twilight Zone, and the Priceline Negotiator.
What a career.
Yeah. So got to see the film, got to talk to William Shatner, got to ask him a second question because we were at the end of the red carpet. I didn't want to hold him up any longer than I needed to. And of course, I had to ask him when we're going to get more music.
Yeah, you did.
So, and I told him I would promote it for him. So William Shatner has a new album coming out next month, guys. So you've heard it here first, a children's album of spoken word by William Shatner.
Do it. Come on, do us a bit from it. Come on. Play us.
Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
It writes itself.
It does.
Mary
It
had
really
a
does.
little lamb.
Yeah. There's even a section. There's a section on in the documentary of what he thinks of the Shatnerisms, like the impressions of him. So
think of it. This is a topic I like since the Christopher Walken Super Bowl commercial. This is something that like I'm aware that jerks do to celebrities. Like I'll like pull out a Christopher Walken impression when I'm alone in my room.
Yeah.
I would never dare dream of letting Christopher Walken know I do an impression. I can't imagine there are people in the world like, let me do William Shatner to Shatner.
You know, I was very tempted to do it. No, I wouldn't. If it was Schwarzenegger, I would do my Schwarzenegger for him, but it was Shatner. I don't have a great Shatner, but I did have an opening line for when he came over to me that the whole shirt thing caught me off guard. I was going to say, Mr. Shatner, or can I call you Bill? Because that's the name of the film.
You can call me Bill.
Yeah.
I like that.
But he caught me off guard. The reason I'm wearing this is what I was wearing. This is the shirt that William Shatner was impressed by from Kohl's.
He's never taken it off, ladies and gentlemen.
I haven't taken it off since Saturday.
Showered once.
Nope.
It
not
smells.
At all.
He will never take it off.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that shirt?
Kohl's.
COLES?
What I find funny is that the guy behind him, which I'm going to assume was like somebody that was with him, like started to spell it with Alan.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like if you watch the video, there's a guy in the background who's like with him, I think, like his entourage type thing.
Yeah.
And like even he's like, come on, Shatner, you know,
Bill.
like like, you know, it's like you can even almost see it in the guy's face.
I will say, talking to William Shatner, I could not believe he's 92 years old.
That was my comment on the video. He is like sharp, like he's with it. Like despite the joke about the Kohl's thing, like he's on it.
He is. Like, I wouldn't be surprised that a celebrity from Hollywood who was born in Canada doesn't know what a Coles is, because evidently I've talked to a few people about this. Coles is an East Coast thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's not at all in LA.
But beyond that, he looked good in person. Like, he looked better on the red carpet than he did in the film. I don't know if he's on that weight loss drug that everyone in Hollywood's taken, but he looked good. He looked spry, and he was energetic and very personable, and it was an honor to explain a retailer to Captain Kirk.
What a story, man.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a line from like an episode where like him and Spock go back in time and they're trying to figure out, like the lingo and stuff. And they're like, a Coles. Where do I find this Coles?
Yeah. It was funny because before he got to us, there was like a group, like a bunch of the other press was down at the other end of the red carpet. And I went over with my camera and got a bit of him talking to the crowd. And one of the press people was like, one of my co-anchors on the radio station loves Boston Legal. Can I get a Denny Crane from you? And William Shatner just looks at him and was like, no. And just moved on. So
I love the flat denial of that stuff. That is so funny to me.
But yeah, it was fantastic. Josh and I did a review for You Can Call Me Bill that will be dropping on the Victims and Villains podcast feed here soon. Stay tuned to our Instagram feed and Facebook, because I'll be sharing the video of me interviewing William Shatner as soon as it's up. So if you get a chance, if you're a William Shatner fan, I think you should check out You Can Call Me Bill. So yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you, man.
Yeah. All right. Devin, what did you watch this week?
I have a way less exciting story. I don't know how to follow that up, but I'm going to try. So there are a couple of warning signs that start to happen when a man reaches middle age. One of which is his hair starts graying. One of which is that he starts to gain weight. And one of which is that he has a weird fascination with World War II. And guys, this week for my We Watch This, I watched the Apple TV show Masters of the Air. For those of you that don't know what this is, it's the same people and very much along the same vein as like Band of Brothers or The Pacific, which I loved before I hit middle age. And I love this show. I have one episode left. This is like the most I think I've binged a show that isn't Love is Blind in a long time. That was a weird sentence to say out loud. And yeah, it's so good. The new Doctor Who's in it. He's phenomenal. He's having a moment, and he's so good to see pop up and everything. But they also did my favorite thing, where you guys know that at some point I'm going to make you watch one of my favorite movies, The Great Escape. They mention the real-life event that happens in The Great Escape by some German officer in the show going, "It seems as though these Brits had their great escape the other day." And like just that line alone sold me on it because they called it that, but it was really good. I really like this show. It's really interesting. It's plenty of drama and action and all that good stuff. Have you guys seen or heard about this?
I have not. I've heard about it. I have not seen Band of Brothers though. So I haven't reached that age of that I get obsessed with World War II.
You'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah. But I've known you for a long time, Devin. You were in that crowd of high school who liked Band of Brothers too. Like that military history class. Like there was a group of you that would just be in that club all the time.
Yeah, it was I don't know what happened to me, man. I remember that. I forgot Military History Club. That was a moment in my life.
With Mr. Anderson.
I would have been in that.
We would have been like best friends in that class, Ryan.
Potentially.
Although, Alan, for you, there is I'm assuming he's 11-year-old Jimmy Fallon in Band of Brothers, and it is so worth seeing for that.
Does he break?
The second any of the bombs drop, he just turns. It's incredible.
Is he writing the back of the Roots in that too?
Yes, it's all his Fallonisms.
All right.
But yeah, Ryan, have you seen this show? This seems like your show. Not the middle-aged bit, but like your interests.
I've got so much going on right now
Yeah.
that if I hadn't had so much going on right now, I would have seen it by already. Because like you've got the European theater covered by Band of Brothers. You've got these Pacific theater covered by the Pacific.
The Pacific.
And then this, like, I've been waiting for one that has to do with the bombers, because like even though like there's because of movies like Saving Private Ryan, the Thin Red Line, I think it is, and like Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, all of them. There's a lot of focus on like the ground war when it comes to like culture of like World War II, and I feel like there's not enough about like the air war that happened. I mean, you've got the movie Red Tails that came out, and that's great, a while ago, but people don't realize that like the bombers, the guys in the planes, it was horrible. Like they had to 47, 42 runs before they were like shipped back, before they were like done or something like that.
The book Catch 22 is about it. They had to do 25 runs, and then mid-war they switched it on them, so it had to be like 32 runs.
Yeah, but the likelihood of surviving was like ridiculously low or something like that. Like people don't realize that like the U.S. was pumping out bombers for Europe like one every minute and a half or something during the war. So just think of how many bombers were being shot down for the Allies during that period. Like it is nuts, and I'm so happy that they finally made something about it.
And to put it into context, this show follows a group called the Bloody Hundredth, which during their 22 months of combat, 732 airmen were killed, and 932 were taken prisoner, and hundreds were wounded. Like they lost some guys. Like it is a really fascinating, because it's not a theater of war you hear about much.
I have one question, and then that's it about this.
Yeah, what's up?
Do they follow, or do they have an episode dedicated to the ball turret gunner under the bomber? Or is there a character that is that?
Several characters that are that, and the horrors of being the ball turret gunner are explored in excruciating detail.
Good.
Including some risks that I didn't know the ball turret gunner even had.
Yes, because again, I went from watching Nickelodeon in the early 90s straight to watching the History Channel. So I was watching World War II documentaries starting at the age of 10. So that's why I asked, because that's one of those things where it's like people don't realize how much that was legit, like a suicide mission.
Yeah, just basically it was.
Be that position. So anyway, done.
All right. So I have a question about this. Austin Butler's in this, right?
Yes, he is.
Does he still sound like Elvis?
Yeah, he kind of does. It's still kind of there. He's basically playing like, what if Elvis was in the war?
Yeah.
But
Elvis
totally
was in the military, like,
but not this deep in the military.
What's funny is we talked about Dune 2 on here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He slips into Elvis in that, and even in that, he's doing an impression of Stellan Skarsgård. But you can still hear like the little bit of Elvis twang in there. It's very bizarre.
Poor man.
I'm impressed that any actor could affect their voice so much for a role that they can't lose it 3 years later.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
it's
fair,
insane.
This totally works. Like, it's not distracting.
It's insane, is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. But okay, cool. Ryan, you had something as well. Tell us about Polaroid.
So Polaroid is your traditional, I would say, like baseline horror movie for people that are getting into horror, or for people that like horror and just want like a lighthearted horror. The best way to put it. It's entertaining. I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite horror movie I've seen so far in 2024, but it's entertaining enough that I like it. So
okay,
that's it.
Ryan, tell us what the tagline to this movie is. So I just looked it up.
Oh, I don't know.
It's evil develops.
Yeah, actually, that's
Really good.
That's
Really good.
Yeah,
That
that is
is-
really good. It all runs around like it's set in like modern times. So the movie was filmed in 2019. So it's set in 2019. It's with a bunch of high school students, and they come across like a Polaroid camera from like the 70s, and it's really funny the way that these teenagers describe a Polaroid camera because it makes like even though I'm not from the 70s, it made me feel old.
Oh, no.
Watching this, but yeah.
I can't
But
imagine
it's
what
good,
that
though.
was. Is it like it prints out an Instagram for you with room for the comment section below?
No. It's not even that.
Oh, okay.
It's actually real subtle. Like the one girl goes, "Well, here you can take a picture, and only he can have it. No one else." Idea. It's the whole idea that like you can take a picture and you don't have to put it online unless you take a picture of it to put online. So like it's more of a private, intimate thing than it is just a normal picture. And that whole concept to me is like alien ideas. No,
Yeah.
it's not.
I
like,
didn't think about that. That's a
Yeah.
weird concept. Yeah, that it's a private
that
picture.
Makes me feel old. Is that
Yeah.
that's the way that it's seen now?
Wow. Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make us watch it?
Probably. It's not going to be
Okay.
probably for a while though. Like I have other stuff that I want to do and other movies that I want to get to.
Okay.
So
All right, so we can shake that off, shake it like a Polaroid picture, and move on, or shake it off, if you will.
And we will, Alan.
Yeah.
We certainly will.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why the stream's freezing up on me. That's why. Let me close that out.
Oh, I hope this is indicative of how somebody felt about this movie that we watched.
All right, so we're going to talk about.
yeah, never mind.
Yeah, we're going to talk today. We're going to talk about Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, Taylor's version, the Taylor Swift concert film that debuted in theaters last year and has now made its streaming debut on Disney Plus over the weekend. Before we get into this, I want to tell you guys that I watched this under the best conditions.
Okay.
Because I was in Richmond, Virginia, and staying at my sister's. My 7 going on 8-year-old niece is a huge Swiftie.
Aww.
Back when this came out, the temptation for me to drive. I knew they were going to see it in theaters. I almost drove 4 hours to surprise her at the theater and didn't.
Oh.
Since I got to meet William Shatner this weekend and was in town, I was like, hey, when you wake up Saturday morning, do you want to watch the Eras Tour with me for my podcast? She's like, yeah. So, actually, no, I don't even think I asked her beforehand. We watched it. Like, she woke up. I was like, you want to watch Taylor Swift with me? She's like, yeah. So she, like, watched it, cuddled up to me on the couch, and was singing along the whole time. So, if I'm a little biased, that's why. So,
That
what
is,
did
like,
you?
the best circumstance.
So before we get into this, what is your guys' opinions of Taylor Swift? Like, do you like the music? Do you like her music? Do you like her as an artist? What are your opinions for Taylor Swift? Devin, let's start with you.
So I'll tell you my opinions before watching this.
Okay.
My opinion before watching this is I'm aware that she is a pop star, and one of her songs prominently features Barry Sachs, and I love her for that. Shake It Off, the main dar, 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 like that line.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah, so that makes me happy. Otherwise, I have never really heard Taylor Swift songs. I know she shadow dropped a few albums. I know the new like the You Belong to Me one that made it crazy popular. But unless it happens around me, I don't seek out Taylor Swift. I didn't know much about her prior to this, but I got a few friends that are Swifties.
Okay. Ryan, how about you?
Well, Taylor Swift is someone that I'm always that I've always been aware of, simply because she's from Pennsylvania. So anybody that makes it big from Pennsylvania that I find out about, I just kind of keep on my radar a little bit just to see how they do. I think her first song came out when I was either in like high school or college. And then just people I know have like played her stuff here and there, and then she disappeared from my radar for a while. And then 1989 came out, and I actually like that album. I have. I like the songs that are on it. But other than that, like she's just to me just another big name pop star at this moment. And yeah, like it's not like she's more or less top 40. I do listen to top 40 occasionally, but it's not my go-to genre of music to listen to. So
I have a very specific memory involving you and Taylor Swift.
okay.
And I think it's when 1989 came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember you and I were both working for a big box retailer at the time, and we were both in the same position in different departments and had a meeting that the morning this came out. And you walked into the personnel office and was like, I listened to the new Taylor Swift album. It wasn't bad. I kind of liked it.
Yeah. That's
Vividly remember that.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, prior to that, I knew Taylor Swift as like pop country, and then that came out, and it was like synth, and it sounded 80s, and it had a lot of her music had a decent bass line to it, and some of her songs was basically her sarcastically and cynically reacting to people's opinions of her dating life, and I thought that was funny, and I thought, you know, good for her. It's her life. Like who cares what she does? And so that was my point of view on that album, and that's why I liked it. Now I have to say that's the only album that I've ever like. I have listened to other albums recently because of the Eras tour, and I can definitely say that that is the one album of her music that I like. Other than that, to me, it's just okay. This is top 40.
Okay.
So.
Devin, have you listened to a whole Taylor Swift album before?
Never.
Okay.
Never once. Not like on purpose. Like just I'm not like Taylor Swift. I just haven't.
Do you understand what the eras are then?
This was part of my research, Alan.
Okay.
I had no idea what the eras was before going into this.
Okay.
I just figured it was a cute name for a tour.
Okay. So anyone who's listening and doesn't know, the eras correspond to each of Taylor's albums. I feel weird saying her first name because it then sounds like I'm talking about my sister.
Who was named after Taylor Swift, right?
Funny
Famously
story.
named after her.
Funny story. Because I was watching this with my sister Taylor and her daughter, my sister told me when they saw it in theaters, my niece turned to her and said, "It's nice that your name's Taylor, and it's okay that your last name's not Swift." Kids, man.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. She's probably gonna watch
I
this
love
later. So, hi, Lily.
I hope she does.
Yeah. All right. So that being said, Devin, since you seem to be the freshest to Taylor Swift's music and the eras, what did you think of the Eras tour?
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I'm not a Swiftie now, right? But like, I watched this alone, like I all by myself, like while Romana was off doing other stuff. Romana wants to watch it. I'll watch it again with her. No problem. I had a lot of fun with it. It was my experience of it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and that's nothing but a good thing. Now, part of this is just after we signed off the podcast last week, I messaged my friend who was a Swiftie and became a Swiftie because she saw the Eras tour live.
Mm-hmm.
Now she is obsessed. And I go, friend, please tell me everything you know about this. What made this great for you? So I had a lot of prep work going into it. So I knew a lot of what was happening. And it was really, really cool to see.
Yeah. For me, I didn't talk about my experience with Taylor Swift much.
Yeah.
Working with college students last summer when she was touring and was in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh, I saw a lot of them on Instagram at the concerts. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, I should. So Taylor Swift's been on my radar now for a while, just from being around her fans a lot. Like I remember one student was watching. We have a Foley studio with surround sound, and that somebody was working in there one day, and they had her previous concert tour movie playing on Netflix in the surround sound.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool. Like you're doing other work in there, so it doesn't affect me at all. You're not hurting anything. Go,
Right.
you do you. So I've been aware of Taylor Swift for a while now. But it was like the Eras tour was on my radar, and yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool though.
Ryan, what did you think of the Eras tour?
Tour or the
film.
The film.
I'm calling the film the Eras
I was
tour.
not expecting it to be 3.5 hours, and that was a hell of a grind. I'm just telling you now.
Was it really?
Okay, so I was trying to figure out why. Like, why are we doing this? Because it's a concert film. And I'm like, okay, so there's got to be a tie-in here. So I looked at the director, and I was like, okay, well, everything that he's done in his career has been a step up from where he was before. And so when I was looking at that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's up and coming. But I don't remember Alan ever talking about this guy. Like, okay, so how about production? Let's go to production. Oh, okay, Taylor Swift. And then I moved on to something else. And I was trying to figure out why we were doing this as I was watching it.
Did you figure it out? What do you think is the reason we did this?
I have no idea. I really don't, and I'm still questioning it. Like, is this like? Are you guys like punking me or something? Is Ashton Kutcher gonna come into the corner and be like, "Ha, got you"?
No, honestly, I wanted the views.
Watch 3 hours of Taylor Swift.
I wanted the views. Taylor Swift's hot on the internet, and if the NFL is going to do it, we're going to ride the Taylor Swift train as well.
Sounds
No.
so cynical. I mean,
No, seriously. But seriously though, this film was one of the biggest box office hits of last year. It grossed over $1 billion. Technically, it's an independent film because it wasn't released by any major studios.
Yeah.
Grossed over $1 billion. It was a big hit, and I don't think you can talk about like Taylor Swift's having a moment now. Like I don't know if there's ever been anything like it in our lifetimes. Like it's almost Beatles in the '60s level.
I have to tell you about that. Like, I live in a place that does nothing but homage to the Beatles because I live in a building that used to be the record factory for all of the UK. So the Beatles are a big deal here. I have a cafe next to me called the B-Town Cafe. One of the parking garages that I walk past has plastered on it a picture of screaming Beatles fans, and the one right next to it has like stylized pictures of their faces. Like, this feels like a similar moment, like both in like the crowd reactions that you see in the middle of this movie, but then just in like the cultural moment that they're all having. It feels similar. Which like now I feel like nobody ever wants to be like the curmudgeon during the Beatles tour that they're like, yeah, but jazz was better. Like, no one wants to be that guy. So like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, but pop punk isn't, Taylor Swift isn't pop punk. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
I get it. I do, and was looking stuff up about it. I saw that like there's a lot of people out there that attribute this film of helping out a bunch of movie theater chains from preventing from closing. Yeah. That there's a bunch of people in the industry that is saying, look, this is a benchmark like sea change. You're going to start seeing more concert films in movie theaters because of this. And on top of the fact that it is an independent film, because Taylor was the one that had to pretty much put it in theaters because the studios failed on getting failed on negotiating. So on a business, on a film business.
He's froze.
This was a long one.
Yeah, this is a long one. I usually let it go, okay, for when he unfreezes, but that one was that's a long one.
It's exceptionally long.
I don't know if we lost him or not.
No. I mean, we can keep going.
There we go. Very valid point. I don't know what you just said, but he came back for a second.
Good job.
All right. So Devin, being the newbie in all of this, what was your favorite era?
Oh my gosh, it's split, right? So it's split between Lover Era and Evermore Era. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think that opening with the Lover Era was such a good job because I think that Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince and Cruel Summer are fun songs to open on. And I saw those and went, okay, fun, great, got it. But then she kicked into The Man and You Need to Calm Down. And like those two are what made me go, ah, I like this. I like you. You're saying things I like. We can be friends now, Tay Tay. So that's one of the reasons I like Lover Era. And then Evermore Era, specifically because of the writing. And this is something that I'll come back to again and again on this. I think, and especially if she's actually writing her songs the way that everyone says she is, I think she's a phenomenal songwriter. Absolutely incredible. And specifically the songs Marjorie, Tolerate It, and Champagne Dreams, not necessarily presented in that order, have incredible writing and are some of my favorite like pieces that I've heard because of the writing behind it. So that's it for me.
We lost Ryan. We lost Ryan.
I think he might have messaged us. While it's just the two of us.
Yes.
What was your favorite era?
I'm torn. I think the Lover Era was a great way to start it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like the energy definitely picks up in the Red Era. Like when she comes out, starts doing 22. I enjoyed that a lot. I'm trying to remember.
Do you have the set list with the eras up like I do?
I do have the set list up. I also like the Reputation era. Like I think Evermore is a good one. I like the Reputation era.
But they all have like really different feels.
They do.
All of her eras. That's really what I was most impressed about.
They really do, and I really enjoyed the acoustic set as well.
Yeah, I did too.
Did Ryan message us or?
I think he's just trying to get back on his computer. I think one of the things that surprised me the most was how many tone shifts happened in this that she just totally pulled off. And like, as somebody who's totally on the outside of this, I knew that Taylor Swift essentially started off as country music, and then she went from country and then moved more and more and more into like pop. And hearing that she's going to cover all of that in a single tour or in a single concert, I thought, oh, that'll be really tonally weird, and it'll feel a little discordant when suddenly like she pulls out her banjo and starts singing about the country. But she pulls it off. It all feels like Taylor. It's all presented very similarly, and I think it does well.
And she addresses the crowd a few times. I think one of my favorite moments is when she's like, "You guys have followed me and allowed me to change genres and followed me no matter what I'm putting out there." And I think I don't think the sincerity there in her messages to her fans was fake at all. I feel like there really is a genuine appreciation of her fans, which you don't always get from artists. Like I don't think there's like the Taylor Swift appreciation of her fans, and then there's the Gene Simmons "Give Me Your Money" appreciation of your fans. And I don't think Taylor Swift is at that level. At least it doesn't come across as greedy as like Kiss. Like,
no, it certainly doesn't. And I mean, to be fair, she has every right to be as greedy as Kiss is. I mean, I was looking up some of the stats behind this concert and this tour, making insane money. Insane. Like she is killing it. I mean, they're doing that tour is coming here for a week. No band has ever played here for a week, and every night is sold out.
That naturally leads into one of the questions I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
If you're presented with the opportunity to get 2 tickets to the Eras tour in London, would you go?
Yes. There's not even a hesitation. Okay. Hell yeah, I would. Absolutely. Would you? Would you go if it was playing at like Harrisburg or if it was playing in Philly or Pittsburgh? I
don't think Harrisburg could handle the Eras tour. I don't think Hershey Park Stadium's built for that stage. No, it was the kind of thing where I was like, it was on my radar enough where I was like, if I had the chance to go when it was in Philly or Pittsburgh, I definitely would have taken it up.
Yeah.
I know one of my former students has tickets to it in Vancouver, so she's going to see it a second time.
Oh, wow.
So like, there's dedication. There's dedication to those fans, and I don't want to take up a seat that could be going to someone else who would appreciate it more than I would. But if I had the chance to go, yeah, I'd probably go.
No, I would definitely go. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like after this, I was like with Romana, I was like, can we take, like, we'll travel. I'll go somewhere. I'll go to Spain for this.
Yeah.
Like, her tickets, like, they're not cheap.
One of the ads I keep seeing on TikTok now from like watching this and the algorithm just finding me. One of the ads I keep seeing is it's cheaper to buy a ticket for the show in like the Eras Tour in Spain.
It is.
Than it was in Miami. To buy a plane ticket, hotel, and the concert ticket in Spain is cheaper than the tickets to just go see it in Miami.
Yeah, so Miami, we looked last night, is reselling for about $2,000. In Spain, it's about 400 euros, which is probably about $600 like per ticket, which is insane to me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what other questions I had for you.
Well, we got to talk about So I have plenty to talk about. One of which I'm holding off because I'm hoping Ryan hops back on because it is the only semi-sports related fact that I have about this, and it has nothing to do with Travis Kelce. So I'm very proud of this fact.
Yeah.
But how did you feel about the background dancers? Because there is one that we need to specifically talk about. But how did you feel about her background dancers?
I think it's very nice to see not only like seeing several different types of diversity going on at once. Mm-hmm. They all look different. They all have different body types, and I think that's very interesting to see. And I'm here for it. Like, I enjoyed all of her background dancers.
Yeah, the one notable one is Cameron Saunders. So Cameron Saunders has been with Taylor Swift for a very long time. He appeared as a dancer in 2022 holiday film Spirited. I talked about Spirited with you. He's in that movie. He's also in the film adaptation of the Color Purple musical. So he's like been around and has been a dancer for a long time. But most notably, when Taylor Swift is singing the song "We're Never Getting Back Together," he's the one that shouts the line "like ever" in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then also in the song "Bejeweled," he's the one that gets his like dancer spotlight. Like he goes off and like does his thing while Taylor and the crowd watch. That's improvised every single night for every single tour. That's his like time to shine. He is so beloved among Swifties for that reason, and I think that's incredibly cool. So he's like definitely a standout for me too. Yeah,
he was definitely the standout for me. I've seen clips of the shows in South America where they have him do it. He or not even South America, in like the Philippines and wherever they go. Wow. He does the like ever in that language.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, that's cool. I like that a lot.
One of the things that I found very interesting about this is when the film first came out and I was getting like crowd reactions of people in the theaters watching this and getting upset that people are standing and dancing and just acting like you shouldn't act in a normal movie theater. One of the things I noticed was like how many edits there were, and I was worried about watching this because I was like, it's going to just be like 5 frames and then cut to the next camera. Like it was like so many edits, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch this. I was impressed with how well the editing worked because they filmed this over 3 nights.
Yep.
And watching where the camera is, like if it's following her down the stage and then it cuts to a wide shot, you should see that camera guy. And there's no camera guy on that stage.
It's not there, right?
And I guarantee they did not go through and refilm that with the camera guy on stage. They had to pick one night where there was a camera guy on stage for them to work around. And when they cut away to the wide shots, those were the other nights. And it's so seamlessly done. Like not even the Hamilton musical film did that as well as this did. I was very impressed because I was like, oh, 2 nights that's okay. But then I figured it out. It was 3 nights that they filmed this. So
It's incredible. So I need to know then if you had seen this in theaters and people were standing up in the aisle in the movie theaters singing and dancing, and like Taylor Swift fans are wont to do, they have their own, and it sound I said that weird, but they have their own parts in songs like that they will like chime in on. So like during one of them, you actually kind of heard the crowd at one point where the songs go like 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. Like
yeah.
that's like a chant that they do that they put into it. They all do the prep work beforehand. Like, would you have been mad to have that energy in a movie theater if you went to go see the Eras tour?
So I think the Eras Tour has helped define that there are. It's very rare when you have theater chains come out and say, "Listen, we want you to make noise. We want you to have fun. Get your phones out, dance, have a good time." That's not something that's happened before, but I think it's something that's going to happen again. I think this is an event film, and the not in the sense of like the Avengers Endgame was an event film. This is a live event film. Like people, they want you to react. They want you to have a good time with it. It wouldn't be as fun if you're a Swiftie and you're sitting in the theater, just watching it on the screen, eating your popcorn. This is it created something new, and it's just one of the other reasons we're talking about this. Like I think there's going to be more films like this in the future where crowd engagement is encouraged, and I'm okay with that. It's like going to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show and getting upset that you got people throwing rice at the screen. Like you're going for a reason. Like that's what this is meant for, and I think it's a new genre of cinema, and I'm okay with it.
I am too. And the other part of it is like so many people emotionally connect with the songs that she has and with like just her in general. I mean, I was talking to my one friend about it, and apparently there was this there's a part in the tour or a part in the movie where she says something like, do you all know this bridge? Sing along or prove it that you do or something like that. And like the whole stadium of like 70,000 people sings along. And like that part, like I've never been a part of a crowd that large singing a song all at once like that. I can't imagine what that feels like. But even the residual from that, when my friend was telling me that story, she started to tear up because that's a huge thing to be a part of that like I haven't. And like, so because of that, when that part happened in the movie, like I residually got chills because I know that happened to my friend. Like, that's incredible.
It's weird watching this because there were a few times where I got chills just because it's like so powerful, and it's not something I've experienced, but it's so well done. And like I did have to split this in two because I ran out of time watching it in Richmond. I had to get back, so I stopped before the Reputation era. No, we stopped before the Midnight's era, and I came back and watched the last hour here on my big screen projector. Just watching it on like watching it silently on my couch it is a little bit different than seeing it in the theaters, but there were still moments that gave me chills because I've heard some of her music. I've listened to a few albums here and there, so I'm more aware of her music. And it's hearing some of it live is hits different. It hits
it does.
a lot different.
I got a wee peek into her. So she does this for 3 hours, right?
Yes.
The thing that I was most impressed about is that like even by the end of the show, she still looks composed and isn't like a sweaty mess. And one of the facts I found out about it is that when she first found out that this was going to be a tour and this was going to be the set list, what she would do is run on the treadmill for the entire duration of her set and sing along to all of her songs for 3 hours. Alan, today I put in 30 minutes on the treadmill and am very proud of myself, let alone singing along to a whole Taylor Swift concert for 3 hours.
Try doing that. Try doing 30 minutes on the treadmill, singing 30 minutes worth of Taylor Swift songs.
I'm going to do it. That's the next thing.
do it and film it so we put it on on Instagram.
Done. Done and done.
Were there any moments that any songs that stood out to you? I know we talked about eras. Were any songs specifically?
Yeah, so I think the three that drew me in the most are going to end up being The Man, You Need to Calm Down, and Marjorie are my big three. I mean, they were the ones that I didn't know a lot about. I didn't know at all, actually, going into it. And they're the ones that I immediately started Googling the lyrics to and was like, yeah, this is a good song. This is a really good song. Uh, they're the ones I'll probably look up. Also, probably Vigilante shit as well.
Yeah,
I'll
that's just a
probably look
fun
up at some
title.
point. It's just a fun title. It's a very fun title. I also really like that song. I like the Midnight's Era more than I thought I did.
So
actually.
I might add that song to my library of music because little insight into me.
Yeah.
When I make a playlist, I don't just name it like a thing. I name it like a title of a song that has nothing to do with that's not on that playlist. So I might just make a soundtrack of like Batman's or a playlist of like Batman songs and just call it Vigilante shit.
I actually really like that. What about you? What song stuck out for you?
I really liked "You're on Your Own, Kid," the acoustic song.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Because the one thing we didn't do for this podcast was make each other friendship bracelets, and we should have.
I know. Why didn't we?
That was a good one. I'm trying to remember which one it was where she was like stomping on the stage and like the stage was cracking.
Yeah, that was very cool. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I can't remember what song it was. Was it "Look What You Made Me Do"?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that one more than I thought I would too. I'd heard it like in passing and went, what an annoying song. She just repeats that all the time.
Yeah.
And then like seeing it in context, I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I don't think there was a moment in here that I didn't like. Now, you said you did not watch the credits.
Yeah, because you said, okay, I watched an hour and a half of this movie, and I went, or 3 hours, 3.5 hours of this movie. I went, no, you watched 3 hours of this movie and stopped it at the credits, and you went, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Did you watch the credits?
There were more songs in the credits.
No, there weren't. Were there?
Because this was Taylor's version on Disney Plus, they added Cardigan, which was added to the extended cut, but then they added 4 more songs. They added they had 6 songs at the end from her bonus acoustic sets. So at the end in each concert, she does 2 songs acoustic as bonus songs.
Yeah.
I guess the gimmick has been every show has different surprise songs, and she's changing that up now. But for a while there, it was you never know what 2 songs she's going to play. So since they filmed this over 3 nights, they had 6 bonus songs recorded that they put at the end of this. So at the end of this, there are the 2 songs that were in there for the acoustic, but she added in "I Can See You" from Speak Now, "Death by a Thousand Cuts," our song, which was already in the film, "You Are in Love," "Maroon," and then "You're on Your Own, Kid."
Oh, interesting.
So,
well, I got to go watch that now.
If you want to see
Taylor
more,
Swift.
yeah, you want to see more, there you go.
Oh, I'm certainly going to. That's going to be what I do tomorrow.
Awesome. Do we wait for Ryan? Do we see? Oh, there he is. All I have to do is say his name, and he appears again.
He's like a more efficient Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
You're back. We missed you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for you. Have to. So Ryan, real quick, were you watching along at all while you were out?
No, because of
All right.
Computer.
So we'll just hit some of the points for you, or ask you some of the questions. Yeah. What was your favorite song from the concert?
I forget the name of the song. But it's got to be a tie between I forget the name of both of them. But the one where she's like pretending that she's nuts. Like it's the song where she's pretending to be insane and like being one thing at the start of the relationship, then being the next thing at the end of the relationship.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, like I'll give me a pen, I'll write your name. Like that song.
Is it Blank Space?
Blank Space.
Blank Space.
Yep.
And the other song from that album, the one where where was it? There's the lyric, you've got that James Dean look in your eye.
Style.
Those are my two favorite songs from her. So
those are good ones. That's all in 1989. That's a good era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I said, I missed a lot, didn't
I? Not too much. Did you watch the acoustic songs at the end after the credits?
So unfortunately, because of my mindset, and I didn't know this was 3.5 hours long, or else I would have done this in little chunks. But I had to watch this all last night.
Oh boy,
and that's part of my like mental disparity at the moment. As soon as I saw the credits, I'm like, oh, good, the credits, and then I hit pause to like stop it. And I'm like, there's 45 minutes left of this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so there's got to be something after the credits. So I fast forwarded through the credits, and I got to the acoustic set, and I'm like, okay, that song I recognized for some reason. I don't know why I recognize that song, but I'll watch this. And then it played into what they showed before when she said, this is the acoustic set. I'm like, oh, they spliced this. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay. Didn't really care for the song. I didn't really care for the music she was playing. So I went forward 5 minutes. Then I went forward another 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, she's playing the piano. And then I did that all the way to the end.
You skimmed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
because I needed to go to bed and it was already 11 o'clock and I started at 6.
You at least get points for trying to do the assignment. Devin didn't know. Devin didn't look on the last page of the packet and missed a whole set of answers and failed the test.
I did. Yep, completely failed. It's my fault.
So Ryan, last thing, I think one of the last things we'll talk about before two things before we wrap this up that you missed. How do you feel about going to the movies and having people dance and sing if it's something like this?
Oh, that's a good question. So if I ever go to something like this, it's going to be for like a band that I follow. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people are going to start moshing in the front row.
What if they do? Would you join in?
No, because there's chairs and I don't want to get hurt. I'm practically 40, Devin. And like, so like, I would only go and see this if it was like Eve 6 or Bad Religion or like maybe like a music doc on the dead Kennedys or something like that. And I don't really see that happening. Now, if I had like a niece or a nephew, or if I had a kid to put myself in that situation where they want to see like, you know, this, and I look around and I'm like, and I'm there for them, not there for myself, and that's what's happening, then I'm like, oh, okay, I can pull out my phone and start scrolling Facebook. Cool. Like,
yeah.
So that's my reaction to that. That's my reaction.
All right, and I think the last thing that I don't think we talked about with you, say you're given the opportunity to go see the Eras tour in person, would you go?
Yeah, I'm not going to say, I mean, okay, so you're talking to someone whose first concert was the Beach Boys with special guest, I forget his name, the musical uncle from Full House.
Oh, John Stamos.
John Stamos. That was my first concert. My mom took me to go see the Beach Boys with special guest of John Stamos. And then my dad took me to go see Deep Purple and Steppenwolf. And I eventually saw Jethro Tull in concert. So I'm not going to like miss a chance to see like a huge artist like concert. So I mean, I would go. I wouldn't spend my own money.
Okay. That brings up a good point. What is your most memorable concert experience? We talked a bit before about seeing some of the crowd reactions to like moments in this, like kids breaking down and like things like that. What are your guys's like super memorable concert moments? Because I have mine. If you need a second,
go for it.
When I was in college, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band came to Penn State for a show at the Bryce Jordan Center, and I didn't know, like, just being able to see Bruce Springsteen was what I wanted. Like, I was like, Bruce Springsteen's here. I haven't really seen an actual concert here before I graduate. I wanted to be Springsteen. and he did all of his hits, and I knew some of them. I didn't know them all, but the moment that sticks out to me is for the encore. Somebody put up a sign, and Springsteen's like, I think it's in this key. Like, let's try it in this one. And then all of a sudden they just start playing Shout. And so like Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, leading a crowd of college students singing Shout was like the moment for me that like everyone went wild. Like even my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she was like not there for Springsteen at all. She's there because I dragged her, and like she got into like when he started doing Shout, because that was like a Penn State thing, and it was just like everyone got into it. It was like so much fun, and that's like the highlight of any concert I've been to.
So fun. Ryan, do you have any?
I went to go see. I have two. I went to go see with a bunch of college friends. There was a local rock bar in Allentown called Croc Rock, and they had like an alligator in their like logo. But anyway, it was a small venue, but I got to see Say Anything, the early November. Roses Are Red and Amber Pacific. For anyone who doesn't know, that's like early millennium alt rock, emo,
I'm sure.
emo, like that. And I got front row on the bar, and it was me and my friends there, and I was being a jerk. I was the one making memories. So I was on the bar, and the girl I was dating was in front of me, and all of these like, and I'm like 21, 22 years old. And there's all these like 14, 13-year-olds, because it was an old ages show, were behind me trying to mosh. They were pretty much just like jumping into each other, just like sticks jumping up and down and like bumping into each other like, like preteens do. And they kept on bumping me. And then I was bumping into her, like pushing her up against the rail. And I got pissed and I lost my head. And when it happened, I pushed myself back on the bar, and I flung all of them in about probably like three of them into everyone else in the pit. And I heard some kid go, "Man, we gotta be." It's like, "Man, watch out, we're making them bad. Don't do that." As soon as I did it, I felt like the biggest jerk in the world, and I just wanted to leave. Like I felt embarrassed for myself when I did that. But my favorite theater experience was seeing Paul McCartney in Hershey. My wife and I went to go see Paul McCartney, and that was like a 3-hour show, and his set list was like 87 songs.
Woo! Devin, how about you?
So mine was, oh my gosh, it must have been back in 2018 or 2019. I went to go see a hardstyle band called Radical Redemption in the Netherlands. It was a 12-hour long hardstyle concert. It was incredible. I have so many little weird stories from that trip. It all sticks out in my. It's all memorable. It's all incredible.
12
One of the
hours?
best experiences. 12 hours. 12.
And you said hard.
Nothing. Hard style. So
there's a band called Heart. Are you talking about the band like tribute? Like this is a tribute band to Heart?
No. So it's a concert held primarily by an artist called Radical Redemption.
That would have been better to lead with than just.
well, so it's headlined by him. The whole thing was called the Radical Dome. It's headlined by him.
Okay.
But it featured a lot of like his colleagues and people in the same genre that are like his friends. And it was a hard style is the style of music it is. Hard style is basically if somebody went, dubstep. What if it was louder and faster?
Oh, it's an ED. You went to an EDM festival.
It wasn't EDM. EDM's more like trance and more like.
I don't care what music it is. You had to be on something to be there for 12 hours.
Most people were. I had one Lipton iced tea.
EDM festival.
Oh man, that would do me in right now. Like
going hard, man.
Yeah, those sugary drinks are not something to play with. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. No, it was an awesome concert. Amazing.
Be a true American and get a Long Island iced tea in the middle of summer in a field.
Really feel it. Hold on, can I tell my one sports fact about this movie?
Yes,
now
please.
That Ryan's back? Ryan, there's one sports fact about this concert, and I don't know that you guys caught it, but you might have. So at one point in one of her songs, she's wearing a hat. And then at the end she like walks to the end of the thing and she takes the hat off and she hands it to them. Did you guys know who she hands it to?
No.
It's Kobe Bryant's daughter. Because
Was it?
Kobe Bryant was a massive Taylor Swift fan.
Who that girl was.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was
I just
so
chopped it-
cool.
I just chopped it up that it was some dream come true kid, or it was some like
Oh,
make a
yeah.
wish kid. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, and she hands that hat like that every night of every tour she does. She'll hand that hat to a different person, and in LA, of course, Kobe Bryant's daughter shows up.
Yeah.
So of course she's the one that gets the hat. Like that is a very
That
cool
makes
moment.
sense. That-
And like Kobe Bryant
makes
was
sense.
on record saying that he loves Taylor Swift because she's on top of her game, and he
Yeah.
respects anyone that's on the top of their game like that. So like it was a really cool nod to that. I thought it was like a cool little Easter egg there.
That is very cool.
That was it. It's my sports fact. I did it,
All
guys.
right. I think that's all we've.
Fortunately, it was basketball.
Hey, sports
Wow.
is sport.
I
Um,
know it is.
All right. Well, I think that does it on our review of Taylor Swift's the Eras Tour, Taylor's version on Disney Plus. Are you guys? So, last thing I'll ask, because this doesn't have to do with the film. Taylor Swift has a new album coming out next month. Will you listen to it the day it releases?
Oh, probably not the day it releases, but probably the week it releases. I'll
Okay.
probably like have it on Spotify and click through it.
Okay. Ryan?
I'm going to give it the same chance I've given every album that has come out since '89. Than I've done, which is I wait for the hits to come out, and then I see how much of the hits I like, and then if I like all of the hits, then I'll check out the album.
Mm.
But if it just
Okay.
turns out that all I like is the hits, then I just move on.
Okay. Fair
about you,
enough.
Alan?
I'll probably listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, somehow I ended up on the TikTok of when is she releasing the Taylor's version of Reputation and like all the conspiracy theories that play into that and like all the hints that she supposedly gives and like seen a lot of people like she's releasing it on this date at this time. Like the last one was supposed to be after this dropped on Disney Plus, like at midnight, it was going to the Reputation Taylor's version was going to release. So.
Well, hold on. Now I got to tell you this fact that I know about
Okay.
it. At one point, she makes a mistake in the concert because she says there are 5 albums that you've released that you haven't gone on tour for. Now, up until that point in time, there were only 4 albums that she released that she hadn't gone on tour for. That was her way of subtly hinting that there was another album that she was about to shadow drop, and that's the one that comes out in April, Restless Poets Society.
Mhm.
So that's her little nod. She'll do this stuff. She does
Yeah.
do this stuff. So it's not like that crazy conspiracy. She will give the hint.
It's out there, like, but it's insane. Like, it reminds me, like, seeing Swifties trying to figure this out reminds me of you and me in high school talking about Lost. Like,
And I
that's
love this stuff. I love
yeah.
it.
I think that's what's made me more of a Taylor Swift fan than anything is just
The conspiracy bits.
the trying to figure out like when she's releasing the Reputation Taylor's version. So, all right, next week it is Ryan's pick to make us watch a film one of us has never seen. Ryan, what is your pick?
I am starting my theme of movies that Ryan thought were the bomb when he was a teen
I love it.
next week.
Okay, all right.
Have either of you have seen Triple X?
No, I mean probably years ago, but all I know is Vin Diesel's in it.
I haven't seen it.
I am starting my theme of revenge for the year on both of you with Triple X. More movies to follow.
All right.
Cannot wait.
All right. Well,
done.
make sure that next week you tune in for that. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, like us on, follow us on Instagram to see that my interview with William Shatner. That's a weird sentence to say.
Awesome.
You can also listen to You Have to Watch This podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This. Oh, and check out Rum Runners Podcast Network on Patreon to support the Rum Runners Podcast Network. A whole bunch of different shows there, a bunch of fun content going up on the Patreon. Some of it coming from us here soon. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Devin.
Ryan, why are you so confused about yourself? Like, this is the second week in a row.
I've just decided to have fun now with it, and that's
now
what
I'm playing
doing
off
at the
you. That's
moment.
all we're doing.
That's what I'm doing at the moment. Who knows? I might do it again next week.
He's a
I might
wild
do something different next week. Who knows?
I'll see you next week. I've done this to myself.
You did.
Have you?